Hi, and welcome to this class focused on the symptoms of menopause. And we'll focus more on backbending and forward folding. This practice will help with depression, mood swings, fatigue, and insomnia. So make sure that you have a bolster or a bunch of pillows, folded up blankets. If you have yoga blocks, grab them. If not, anything that's similar to a yoga block to have handy. Okay, so starting in Tadasana, nice steady feet underneath you. You can have them at any rotation that feels good to you. You can have them a little bit wider if this feels more secure for you, or you can have them a little bit more narrow. Just find your comfortable stance. Let your hands come to your heart. Gently close your eyes. We'll take a few Ujjayi breath here in Tadasana. Ujjayi breath is that ocean breath created at the back of your throat as you breathe through the nose. So we'll ease our way into it to begin. Take a nice full inhale through the nose. As you exhale, open the mouth and create a nice soft ha sound. Continue with that for a few more breaths. On your next round of breath, halfway through the exhale, allow the mouth to close, but continue to make that ha sound. Take a few more just like that. On your next round of breath, try to take it only with the nose. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose, but continuing that nice soft ha sound in the back of the throat. It helps here to have the tip of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth where the teeth and the gums meet. I'll take one more Ujjayi breath. And if your eyes are closed, gently blink them open. Let your hands release by your side and just give yourself a nice little shake, a little wibble wobble, just to help give a little wake up shake. Yeah. Or a good evening shake, or shake out the tensions wherever you are in your day today. Good. And then we'll step up to the top of the mat. We'll start with a few calm half sun salutations. So again, starting in Tadasana, feet right underneath the hips. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold forward, bending at the hips. It's okay to soften the knees here, especially if it gives you a little bit more movement. Let the head drop at the bottom. On your inhale, lift halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Fingertips can come anywhere along the legs to support if you need. Exhale, fold forward, letting the head drop. Inhale, reverse swan dive, press through the legs, sweeping the arms up overhead. Eyes follow the fingertips. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart in Tadasana. We'll move through that one more time. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, diving forward, bending at the hips. Inhale, lift halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, press through the legs, sweeping all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And we'll add a little bit more movement to this now. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Let's bring the hands down to the mat and just step back to your downward facing dog. Letting yourself settle back into the hips. You can bend the knees here if you'd like to get a little more length through the spine. Nice, steady breath. Legs can straighten as they will. If you have more openness in the backs of the legs, feel free to let the knees straighten. Good. And from here, just gently lower down the knees. Let's take child's pose. And since we have our support, our pillows, our blankets, and whatnot with us, let's use them. So bringing the bolster in front. I'm opening up the knees here so that I can fit the bolster in between. And then let yourself melt forward. Now, you can use your hands underneath your forehead here and rest like that. Or if you'd rather, you can turn your head to one side and just let the arms rest on the mat. Whatever feels the best for you. If there's another variation that you are playing with and you want to use, then feel free. And we'll stay here for just a few more breaths, letting the body settle in. One more nice deep breath here in child's pose. On your next breath, gently bring yourself up to vertical. And remove your bolster. Move it to the side. For the next few poses, we will be on our knees. So if your knees are sensitive and you don't have enough cushioning underneath, feel free to trifold the mat. And then bring your knees up onto that trifold. Or if you have a towel or blanket, feel free to place it underneath. We'll come into tabletop from here. So coming onto hands and knees. Being mindful here that you have your knees underneath the hips and the space between each leg is about a fist width, maybe two. No more than that. Hands and wrists come right underneath the shoulders and fingers are spread. So we'll move through cow and cat for a few cycles of breath. Again, connecting our breath and our movement the best we can. On the inhale, lifting the heart and the tail. As you exhale, give a nice curl through the back, moving into cat pose, pressing down through the arms and legs. Inhaling, arching the spine, lifting the head and tail. Exhale, curl. Take a few more rounds here. Feel free to follow your own pattern of breath if it doesn't match up with mine. But enjoy the slower movements. Enjoy the length of your breath. Take one more full round. One more cow, one more cat. And then come back to a nice neutral spine. So we're going to work on an inversion here called Dolphin pose. And we can start right here from our tabletop. Just gently lower down onto your elbows. Let the fingertips come to the elbows and then interlace the fingers. Press down through the arms so there's lots of energy happening here. Tuck the toes. And on your exhale, lift the hips up and shift your heart back. If your head is touching the mat, walk the toes a little bit closer to your face. And you can bend the knees here. They don't have to be straight. Inversions are wonderful for insomnia. So if you are suffering from insomnia, we will hit a few inversions today, and this is one of them. We're not looking to build too much heat, so we won't stay for that long. Maybe just one more breath. Good, and then gently lower down the knees. You can bring them onto your cushioning. And set the hips back. We'll take child's pose, and if you want to use your bolster again, feel free. Take notice of any changes that you may feel in your body. One more nice breath here in your child's pose. And on your inhale, go ahead and roll up through the spine. Exhaling where you need to, move the bolster out of your way. And now let's grab a block. We'll move into camel pose, bit of a back bend. Any postures that we do that opens the chest, that's a bit of a back bend, that opens up our heart center, is good for diminishing depression, mood swings, and helps increase our memories. So we will hit a few back bends, nothing dramatic, but just enough to help you feel a little bit better. So moving into camel pose, again, I'm up on my knees, hips are over the legs. You can open the knees a little bit wider than the hips if your lower back is super tight and you need a little bit of a release there. So we're going to bring the hands back, heel the hands onto the hip bones, fingers press the flesh down. Roll your shoulders back, inhale, lift the heart. As you exhale, start to shift the hips forward, so you're coming into a hinge, and lift your heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Now the neck is long here. You can also bring the chin to the chest if your neck is uncomfortable in that position. But do try to avoid breaking the neck and letting it drop back. It's quite difficult to breathe that way and talk. And on your inhale, come back up through vertical. Exhale, gently sit. If you have the block here, feel free to sit on it. Otherwise, you can sit on your heels. Just take a moment. We'll move into a second round coming up. Bringing the hands behind again. You can repeat the same variation as we just did, or if you'd like to, you can move down a level onto the block. So squeezing the shoulder blades, inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, hinge the hips forward. If it's available to you, let the hands walk back to the block. Squeezing the shoulder blades, bring your breath up into the ribs, the heart, the upper back. The breath will act as a natural stretch here for your ribs and the muscles surrounding it. On your inhale, bring the chin to the chest, walk your hands back up to the hips, and exhale, gently sit. We'll let the spine neutralize itself in its own time. This nice steady breath here. We'll move through one more round of camel, and as in this practice, we're not looking for the extremes. We'll repeat the same variations. If you know this pose and want to go deeper, of course, feel free to. The practice is here for you and how you feel good. So now moving into round 3, bringing the hands to the hips, rolling the shoulders back. Inhale, lifting the heart and starting to hinge on your exhale. Feel free to stay here, or you can walk your hands back onto the block, or more extreme or more intense, to the heels. Make sure the breath stays nice and steady here. Bringing it through the ribs, the chest, the upper back. Add one more breath. On your inhale, bring the chin to the chest. Exhale, walk your hands back up. Gently sit. You can stay on the block here or remove it and sit on your heels. Let your spine settle down. Take a nice inhale here, lengthening up through the spine. As you exhale, give a gentle twist to your right. Left hand comes across the opposite thigh, other hand comes behind you. If you're sitting a little lower to the ground, your fingertips can come down to the mat. Inhaling, coming through center. Exhale, gently twist to the left. Let's take each side one more time. Inhaling through center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhaling, coming through center. Exhale, gently twist to the left. Good. On your inhale, come back through center. Exhale where you need to. Let's remove any props from underneath us. You're moving it to the side, and then go ahead and straighten out your mat. Find your way into your plank, your push-up position. Take a nice inhale here. As you exhale, lower down the knees, the chest and the chin coming onto the belly. Hands under the shoulders, feet relax. Inhale, small cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press it up through tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes. Find your downward facing dog. Then from here, let's walk the feet up to the top of the mat. We're going to take Uttanasana with a head support. So what that means is it's a forward fold, but instead of letting the head dangle, I'm going to try to find a way to let the head be supported by something. Whether you have your blocks here, or you have your bolster and a bunch of pillows, and you want to stack some stuff up to find what works for you, feel free. And the hands can rest wherever they need to. Just be mindful here that you're not getting too much sensation in the lower back. If you are, bend the knees a little bit to release that. You're getting a nice sensation of stretch through the hamstrings. And we'll stay here for about 10 breaths. Now, if at any point you start to feel dizzy or you just don't feel good in this position, find your way to your child's pose, supported by your pillows and props. So this posture, because we have our head supported, helps to reduce anxiety and irritation or irritability. Because we are supported, it makes us feel a little safer. Being in a forward fold also creates that sensation, as it brings our attention more inward. And the inversion here also tackles insomnia, as I mentioned earlier. Take one more breath here. If the eyes are closed, let them open. Gently lift your head off your support and move the props out of your way. From here, we're going to open the feet up to the width of the mat and come into Malasana, Garland pose. Letting the hips sink down between the heels. Trying to keep the feet flat here. Elbows between, palms pressed together. I'm going to turn myself to face you. Now this pose is really, really good for the hips at any point in your life, whether you're in menopause or not. It helps to open up the hip flexors, the lower back, and the whole area that surrounds our reproductive organs. Now, if you're not as open in the hips, and this is quite difficult, then do something to help yourself. Bring a prop underneath your hips and allow yourself to sit on that. If the heels are lifted, be mindful that they're not underneath your hips. They do have to open up a bit more so that they're wider than your hips. And if your heels are still lifted, then take your mat, take the end of your mat and roll it up and bring your heels on top of that. We're going to stay here for a couple more breaths. If your eyes are closed, gently blink them open. And on your exhale, let the hands release down. Go ahead and shift your weight forward, lifting the hips a bit. Remove any props that were around, just so you have a clear space. And gently squat and come to a seated position. Have the legs extend out in front of you. And if you need a little bit of a release here, feel free to rock the legs a little bit. You can give them a little pop, a little rock, a little shake, whatever you might need. As you get comfortable here, make sure your sit bones are fully onto the mat. If for any reason you feel like your pelvis is tilted back, you can take your mat and roll it up and bring your sit bones up onto the mat. This helps to give your pelvis a little bit more space to sit upright. If you need more height, then use another pillow or use something else underneath. We're going to make our way into Paschimottanasana, which is a forward fold, or if you practice yin yoga, you know this as caterpillar. Legs come right out of the hips and let them fall to whatever rotation they're going to fall to. Take your bolster or your pillows or your blankets, pile them up on your lap, bring it all the way up to the belly and lift your ribs up and over on top of it and allow yourself to fold forward. Now you can see here, we want our heads to be supported again. So taking a block or addition of pillows and bringing it underneath the forehead. Let your arms rest wherever they want to rest. And make sure that you have a little bit of sensation here through the backs of the legs and a little bit through the spine area. We're not looking for the most intense stretch ever, probably about 60% of what you're capable of. And again, you want to be supported. Staying and just letting yourself breathe. The eyes can close here. Do your best to stay still while in this pose. Let the body open in its own time, letting gravity do its job. You may have a rise of emotion when you're here in this pose, and it's okay if you do. All emotions are our energy moving through. Allow yourself to experience it, whatever it is. As it passes through, it creates space for new feelings to come in, new emotions to come in. Take one more nice deep breath here in your forward fold. And slide the hands so they're supportive to you as you roll up through the spine. Inhaling and bringing the head up. Exhale, remove any extra props on top of your bolster-like materials. And we'll move into Shavasana from here. So I'm going to move my bolster now onto my left leg. I'll be your mirror image here. Take your right foot and you're going to bring it in and connect it to the inner thigh of the straight leg for a little Shavasana action. You can use a prop underneath the bent leg here, especially if your hips are tight, your knee is high. Bring a prop underneath to support it. Okay. I'm actually going to leave it there just because it feels good for me today. Sitting up nice and tall through the spine. Give a little bit of a twist here and then exhale, fold forward over your bolster. Now, we do want the head to be supported, so bring a prop underneath, a pillow or block or whatever you might have at home. Make sure that your head is supported here. Your hands can rest wherever you'd like them to rest, whatever's comfortable, and let the straight leg be wherever it's going to be. I'm going to stay here for about 8 breaths. This pose targets the back of the straight leg. You have a target area of the hip of the right leg and the lower back focusing on the right side. You may feel this through the shoulders and through the spine as well if you have tightness there. Always be mindful that you're not going to the extreme here. We're supporting ourselves to have a nice, gentle stretch, if you will. One more nice deep breath here. And slide your hands where they're supportive to you and roll up through the spine. Eye socks. Gently remove the block. We're going to switch to the other side. So allow your right leg to straighten out. You can give it a little shake here if you need to. Bring the bolster onto that leg. High. Then take the left foot, bring it to the inner thigh of the straight leg, and support as you need underneath that thigh with a block. Sitting up nice and tall, give a little micro twist, and then fold forward as you exhale. Support your head, and let the arms rest where they will. And we'll stay for about 8 breaths. Do your best to stay still in the pose. And with each exhale, see if you can release and let go of something that might have some tension in it. Sometimes the hip flexor holds on. Sometimes the feet have tension. Sometimes it's the shoulders, the face, or the jaw. Whatever it might be, exhale and let it go. Take one more nice deep breath. Bring your hands underneath you to support you as you roll up. Then inhale as you come up. Exhale where you need. Go ahead and release the props. Bring them to the side of the mat. And let your legs straighten out and give them a little rock, a little pop, a little shake. And we'll move into half Lord of the Fish from here. So I'm going to bring myself to face you. And I'll be your mirror image yet again. So we're going to twist to the right first. So take that left foot, bring it underneath. Heel comes across to the opposite hip. Then take the other foot and cross it so that the foot is flat on the mat. Now, if your hip is really high here or you're having difficulty coming into this pose, you have your props. Use them, bring it underneath your hip and sit on it. When you slide the block underneath, it lifts the hips higher so that the bottom leg has some room to rotate, has some room to move. So sitting up nice and tall from here, inhale the opposite arm up, exhale, twist to your right, and use that right arm around the thigh. You can either hug it in, or if your shoulders are open enough, feel free to tuck. We're not looking for the deepest twist in the world. We're looking for a nice stretch along the glutes and the IT band, and letting your head rotate around to the left. The back hand can either come to the mat if it reaches it without leaning, or you can bring the hand to the lower back, whatever's comfortable for you. On your inhale, bring your eyes to the front. Exhale, release your twist. Use your hands to untangle the legs. Bring the feet about mat width apart. Hands come behind you for support. If you're on the block, feel free to stay on it. And just gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. This helps to release the hips out, get the blood flowing again through those legs. Good. Coming back through center, we'll make our way to the other side. So this time the right foot comes under and across to the opposite hip. Again, not sitting on the foot, but just placing it next to. Then take the other foot, cross it over, foot flat onto the mat. Inhale the opposite arm as leg up. Exhale, twist to your left, hug or tuck the arm around the leg. The other hand comes behind you for support. Nice, gentle breath in your twist. On your inhale, bring the eyes to the front. Exhale, gently release the twist. Open the legs up about mat width apart. Hands come behind and windshield wiper the legs. Good. Coming back up through center. Gently remove any props from underneath you. we'll come onto our backs. So make sure that you line yourself up on your mat so that you can lay flat. Once the head is back, just take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. From here, we'll take a supported bridge. So grabbing a block or your pillows or a bolster, whatever you might need to do so. And go ahead and lift the hips and slide the block underneath. Now you can come to the low level, or if you want a little bit more height, you can come to the medium level, or stack as many things underneath you so you come to a height that feels good. Let the shoulders stay as is. They can stay nice and open and broad. Feet are flat. And with a few seconds here, you should feel either a sensation in the front of the hips, or you may feel your lower back start to open and release. If you have any pain here whatsoever, just gently release and lay flat on your back. Now this is another inversion, so this one tackles the insomnia again. And because it's supported, it's a bit more restorative, so the body doesn't have to work as hard. So we'll get a little bit more into a back bend here. As long as your lower back feels healthy where it is, flex the right foot, lifting the toes, and then gently slide the legs straight, just the right leg. This opens the hip flexor and gives a nice opening, a little bit more of a back bend. From here, let's bring the right foot back in and we'll switch to the left, flexing the left heel and sliding it down. Now, as long as this feels good on your lower back, feel free to add the right leg to the left for a full lengthening of the body, set to Bandhasana. If this still feels pretty good, you can take the arms and extend it up overhead. If this is a bit too extreme for you, it's okay. You don't have to move the arms. But the combination of the back bend with the inversion has helped so many symptoms of menopause. The irritability, the anxiety, the mood swings, the depression. Opening the front of the body is fabulous for helping our moods. So from here, let's bring the arms back down by your sides, by your hips. Take one leg at a time and bend it, bringing your foot flat onto the mat, staying in bridge for another breath. And gently press through the feet. Lift the hips up off the block and remove the block or your props from underneath you and slowly lower the hips down to the mat. Don't move the legs yet. Just allow yourself to be there and feel the feels. Feel whatever's happening in your body. Feel what's happening in your breath. Let it settle down in its own time. Let the arms extend out by your sides to a T. Walk the feet out to the width of your mat. And gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Let the hips come along for the ride. Moving slowly and mindfully. If you find a spot that feels good, you want to stay there for a breath, feel free to stay there for a breath. This gentle rocking motion helps to release out that back bend we were in. Once you've gotten both sides equally, come back to center. Walk the feet back underneath your hips and then gently hug them in towards your chest. From here, give a little rock from side to side. Coming back through center, we'll take happy baby, again focusing on the hips. Let the knees open up to about the width of your torso. Knees are bent at a 90-degree angle, and let your hands reach for the feet. If you can't reach the feet and you can only reach the ankles, the shin bones, whatever you can hold on to is all good. If in this position you're super curled up in the spine, use a block or a pillow underneath your head for support. We don't want to strain here in this pose. This is meant to be a little bit more relaxing, even if it feels intense in the inner thighs and the hamstrings. And from here, bring the bottoms of the feet together, keeping your hands connected to the feet, and let the heels fall down toward your sit bones. From here, hug the legs in towards the chest, bring them back to parallel, and feel free to give a little bit of a rotation here, thigh bones coming in circles, using your hands to help guide them. And then go ahead and reverse the direction, allowing the legs to go in the opposite circle. Gently roll onto one side and come up to a seated position. We're going to move right into our Shavasana, giving ourselves some nice support here. So I'm just going to use the bolster in a flat position. Hi, Zeus. You're going to help me with Shavasana?
Yeah.
Okay. Sit. Well, if you can still see me over the dog, I'm going to bring the bolster all the way to my lower back and rest back, making sure that the head is supported. If this is too intense on the body, feel free to stack blocks underneath to create a little bit more height. Yeah. Or pile up those pillows however you need them to be piled. Zeus's attention was fickle today. It's all good. So resting back, letting your arms come out to the side for a nice chest opener. Now, if you'd like to sit in a reclined bound angle pose, but don't want it to get too intense, you can use your blocks here underneath the thighs. And you can rest like so. Or if you prefer, and your lower back's good with it, let the legs straighten out underneath for more of a Shavasana feel. Let your eyes close and take rest. Let your body sink down into whatever's supporting it and focus in on your breath. Start to deepen your breath. Find energy in your fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Extend the arms up overhead by your ears. Bring the legs together underneath you and give yourself a nice long stretch through the body. Gently release the arms, bend the knees, and roll to one side so you're off the bolster. Gently remove the bolster. And bring your arm underneath your head for support. Gently press yourself up to a seated position. Eyes closed and hands pressed at your heart. Take a few moments here, check in with your breath, check in with your body. And maybe give a few moments of gratitude, something you're thankful for today. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.
Thank you for practicing with me. If you liked the class, please hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And be sure to click the bell for email notifications when new videos are released. Let me know how you felt after doing this practice in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Also, if you have a request for a specific focus or tutorial, please ask in the comments below. Please share this video if you know someone who might enjoy it. Be well and remember to breathe. See you next time.